that'll be for the 2026 season. All right, so let's get into some Sacramento Kings talk here. And again, you can reach us if you'd like at 916-339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. We got our third winner, Chris?
We did.
Who was it?
Buddy.
Buddy. It'd be a buddy. Congrats, buddy.
Wait, I didn't get his last name. Hopefully it's not Healed.
Let's hope not. Well, he might be eligible. So the Kings begin their road trip today, and this is going to be a challenge, certainly for Sacramento, as if you look at the way it's laid out, not only the weather part of the challenge, because they're going to some frigid cities, but the teams they're playing. It starts today in Cleveland against the Cavaliers, a team to this moment that I think is underachieved, but obviously is better than the Kings. Then to Detroit on Sunday, the Knicks, who will be looking for some revenge on Tuesday, Thursday, Philadelphia, Friday, Boston, so a back-to-back, and then it closes out with what you would say is the worst team of the trip, but it's the final game. I know everybody's anxious to get home. It'll be closer to the deadline, the Washington Wizards. So you play the games on paper. Obviously, you're going to have to go through all these teams home and road. It's going to be difficult. I personally think at times the Kings kind of rise to the level of their competition and play the better teams a little bit better. I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't know where you guys are as Kings fans of kind of what your expectations are for the rest of this season, but kind of gauging the pulse on fans that I see at the arena that reach out on social media, that call in on the show or reach us out on the text line. I don't think it feels like there's been a shift in more people wanting them to not win as many games than to win games. And that's not going to be for everyone. There's never one, box we can put all Kings fans in. And like I said before, I can understand the merits of that. It just, to me, has not been proven that it works. I just don't have a case of study that it works. Now, it might be the better option, better chance. And I've been saying this with Dave. I'll say it again. I don't think they're truly franchise player that Scott Perry has talked about is under these pillars of trying to build a consistent winner and maintain that. I don't think that franchise building player is on this team right now. Now, is that player in this year's draft? There's a lot of people that think that about like a guy like Peterson or Devonsa. I don't know no one knows the answer to that. I like a lot of the things I see, but even they may not be that type of player. And that's where it's, all of this ends up being the risk that we talk about.
Yeah, no one has a top 5 pick and picks their player and thinking like, they might be okay.
Right.
They're all thinking like, okay, this is the guy that is going to change things around for us.
I mean, on the roster right now, if I'm not mistaken, is Keegan the highest draft pick? I mean, he's their highest draft pick at 4, but I'm trying to think of the overall roster. Let's see. DeRozan was lottery, but after 4, Levine after that, Sabonis after that, Monk was lottery. Yeah. Westbrook was 4 also, I think. Yeah. So Westbrook and Keegan Murray. Now, Westbrook's played like a franchise. Now, not now. I mean, in his prime Russell Westbrook, MVP type Russell Westbrook, dominant player. Yeah.
Like who was saying when he got drafted too, this guy's going to average a triple-double.
Well, I can tell you exactly, not me. And watching him play at UCLA, I'm like, wow, they're picking him that high? I'm like, I don't know. Like, he's okay. I don't know, but, scouts can see it, or sometimes, right? They don't get all of this right, but
I think that's too a problem with the draft now is you're drafting based on what you think you can make them. Like,
correct.
There's not one guy. How many people have come in and it's just like, he's set to go. He's just going to tear this league apart.
Yeah, it's
like
rare.
LeBron.
Yeah, I think the projections I mean, in our time, I would say, let's go last 25 years. I think the thought was LeBron for sure.
Yeah, but it's all projecting. Like,
right.
With Clifford, it's just like, dude, this guy's already in his 20s. Like,
yeah.
What are you doing? It's like,
and for some reason that's old. Like he's a dinosaur. LeBron, I think Wemby had some of that. Now, some of that I think was given to Zion.
Yes.
And I would say that has not matched so far. It's unfair to be done with him on that, but it has not matched. AD got a little bit of that. Kyrie a little bit. But that's a handful, and some have lived up to it, some haven't. Yao Ming, I think there were some questions like, well, how's he going to really look over here? I don't know. He was pretty darn good. So the one thing, and I know I talked about this with Katie earlier this week, Chris, I just love your thought or your opinion on it, because I always go back to, we're not in these guys' shoes, but I try to put myself in that spot of this current roster, whether I'm Keon Ellis, let's take him for example, someone like Dennis Schroeder, and then Zach LaVine. So you've got a starter, a bench player in Schroeder, and then Keon's a bench player right now, but kind of out of the rotation. The mental part of this, where all three names have been talked about in the trade deadline, I don't know what they personally want. And you've got 13 days left. I mean, I've never been in a spot, I don't know that anybody has. Maybe if you've had an opportunity to take another job and you're weighing it out, or they're weighing you out, and you're like, man, I'm still at this job. And then you start to daydream. You're like, well, what would it look like if I'm at this job? And my life's going to be different. I have to move to this city, but okay, they're offering more money, or whatever the reasons why you would want to go there. And either you go, but there's a chance you don't. And then to come back, is it disappointing if you wanted to go? It's probably disappointing if you never wanted to go. And yeah, go and play. Be a pro. Do your job. It's like, well, there is a human element to this. And Chris, I think almost everybody on this roster, has been talked about in the trade rumor mill. And how much of it is legit, I don't know, but they've heard it and they've seen it. And again, I think there's probably there's got to be a portion of the guys that would like a trade.
The funny thing is, what has been like the best lineups for the Kings during those wins and stuff like that? It's been the young guys
at times,
and those are the guys that aren't being talked about in trades.
You're right. With the exception of, I guess I would put Ellis in the young group.
Yes,
but he's the only one.
Yeah,
and a lot of people want to know why he isn't playing. Well, we had the same conversation. Why isn't Malik playing? Well, because Ellis is playing. And could you get to a spot? Well, then don't play Schroeder. I mean, I guess you just signed him. Doesn't mean, someone's got to sit. Well, don't play Russ. Is that easy to tell Russell Westbrook not to play? And not that you have to worry about that, but then you get into, I'm one of the greatest players this league has had, and your team is not good, and you're not playing me?
Yeah.
There is politics to this, which I hate, but there is.
And the other thing with Russ, I think he's like, Caldwell has it a little bit of just like that dog.
Yes.
Which the Kings have lacked for a long time.
They are missing.
I like Russ just for that fact. Like, you can talk about players not playing. Like, hey, how come that? Just play all the young guys. Just play all the young guys. But it's also good on the bench to see an example of someone just getting down and dirty and physical, and just like, okay, like once you show me that kid, then yeah, you will get his minutes.
Yeah, and I think there's value in that, what you're addressing, because to see Russ play like that should inspire others. You would hope it would do the same to the veterans, but it certainly has to the young guys. And I just think it's a really tricky. This whole season has been one of the most odd seasons from the get-go. Just we knew it at the beginning. It's like, I don't understand the roster, but it's a brand new GM taking over, and he's got to get his teeth into the roster. I think he would love to transform it. I think he's in a difficult position to do so. I think what Sam has been telling us, what everybody around the league says, everybody, the Kings included, everybody wants future draft picks. I want future draft picks for the Kings. Well, if everybody's looking for the same thing, that's tough. And then to have players that I think could help other teams, but we're back to what are they making? How much will they really help? Are they the best choices for these other teams? And so I'm really kind of, I don't know if fearful is the right term, Chris, but I'm really nervous about getting to 2 weeks from today. I mentioned the Clippers being here. That's the day after the deadline. And if there's not a trade made, or if just Keon was dealt, and I'm not meaning that picking on him, but he's a guy that currently is not in the rotation, I don't know what the last 30 games are going to look like. Because, one, I'm not expecting a run by them, but how do you distribute minutes then?
Yeah.
But it's not easy for Doug. It's not easy for the way they're constructed.
See, I think that's good and it's bad. Like, the good part is, okay, like, there's no more talk anymore. This is it. This is what the roster is going to be. We will figure it out from here. Like, I think the thing I haven't liked is just like a lot of the speculation of just like, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? But it's funny. Like, I was just in my mind, I went to a very bad spot. I was starting to think like Dave of just like, okay, the Kings get a very good draft pick in this one. They get a very good player, not great, but the best player on the team. 7 years out, okay, we have to sign this guy to a $400 million contract, but is he going to take us to that? He hasn't taken us to that next level.
In 2023 or 2033.
It's like he hasn't taken us to that level yet. Will he do it? You know what? Maybe we should just trade him for picks.
It's the cycle. It's the cycle of the league, and I don't know if it's good, but here's where my counter to why it might be good is not that, or kind of a situation similar to that. So I think we've been under the same collective bargaining agreement and the same kind of umbrella where it's difficult for teams to trade. But Chris, if we remind everybody, last year, I believe it was February 6th was the trade deadline, 4th, 6th, somewhere around there. And I think it was February 3rd that 2 major bombshells happened. And remember, a same time frame where it's difficult to make trades. People are trying to hang on to future assets. People are not trying to give up things. Well, the Sacramento Kings traded De'Aaron Fox and then Luka. The same, like later that night, which was like the Kings deal felt like a big deal around the league, and it got about 10 minutes of conversation because, boom, what? Luka traded? Like, it just, nobody believed it. I didn't believe it. Everybody double-checked, triple-checked, quadruple-checked Twitter, and it was real. And so, in my mind, I'm going, yeah, it's probably hard to deal Sabonis, DeRozan, Levine, Schroeder, whatever, whoever you're looking at trying to deal. De'Aaron Fox was traded. Luka Doncic was traded. I'm not talking about whether the trades were good. They were traded. In the last couple of years when it was a little bit easier, we've seen Durant traded, Kyrie Irving traded. There's been some big names in this league that have been dealt. Trae Young got traded this year. So now nobody loves the trade, but he got traded. So I don't know if we're going to, get a late push for that. Like, teams, I think, want to make moves. It's just, can they make moves? Yeah, it's interesting. Absolutely interesting. But I think the mental part of this for the Kings of going out there every day, wanting to, be a pro, competing, playing your part. I don't think this roster care. They don't care about, they want to win. Like, the guys that are playing are out there trying to win. They haven't obviously figured out the way to do it consistently enough, because it doesn't benefit DeMar DeRozan at all for this Kings team to finish last, or Sabonis. I mean, the Sabonis may be here, but like, that's the other part of it, Chris. It's like it, and I don't know, and maybe these conversations are happening internally. I'd like to believe there's open communication between Scott Perry and the players. But if you've heard your name, and then you're not dealt, and you've got more time on your contract, not just the rest of this year, it's like, no, we were trying to build around you. Were you? Were those, that's where, like, if we were always placed in rumors around social media about our job, I think that's hard to reconcile that at times with your organization or with our company in this case. But we don't have to deal with that, thankfully. But athletes do.
Ooh, bad news on the ticker. You just got traded to Phoenix.
Oh, for what?
For
cash considerations?
Oh, new snack machine.
Oh. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully they got really good snacks. And hopefully I'll have a good role in Phoenix. Yeah, it's a weird spot. It's a weird spot for this team. And then they're going into these temperatures. Where were you telling me before? What were some of the spots you read earlier about as far as the temps?
Oh, well, I've got a friend in Indianapolis, and I just looked at the weather and I'm like, oh my God, 3? Yeah. That's something I have never comprehended before.
What is the coldest temperature you've been in?
When I was a kid, we used to go, the cabin I'm going to next weekend, we went to that cabin. I remember it snowing pretty good, and I want to say it got down to 15, but it wasn't like we went out for a little bit, but it wasn't like we were staying out there.
Okay.
But I think that's
15?
the coldest. Croatia, that was the coldest I felt, and that was probably 36, but it was a different type of
36. Well, for example, Chris, the Kings are in Cleveland. It's double digits. It's 11. But the real feel, minus 15.
Oh.
That's where they are today. Now, granted, they're inside. They're playing an arena, but there's in and out to the bus, in and out of the hotel. Look, they're not living in it. They don't stay there, but that's jarring to the system. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, where they're going next, Detroit, I think, is worse. Let me check Detroit, because this is a doozy of a winter storm that everybody's getting. Well, Detroit's actual temperature is lower right now. It's 2. Real feel is minus 12. Man. Yeah, the lowest I've ever been in Sac State football was at Montana State. We were in Bozeman, Montana, probably in November, several years ago. And we were watching the news in the room or whatever, or the weather, and they said, yeah, it was 2. And I went outside of the hotel just to feel like, what's 2 feel? I was hoping it would get below, to say I finally was, -1, but it never did. Obviously. It's cold. But I just went outside and came back in, knowing I was coming back inside. Woo! All right. Let's get back inside. But the people, like, you can go in some of those spots, like people have talked about Minnesota, I know Dave has, or other places where literally stuff just, you can't be outside for any amount of time. And like last week, it was the Rams game that was so cold, Rams and Bears. Yeah. And it's like, look, I get it. The players have to play, and maybe they're okay. I would hate to get hit hard. There was a play, I think, where Stafford threw the ball and his hand hit a helmet, and it's like, oh my gosh, that has to be the worst. But I think about the fans, like, man, I love football. I just can't imagine going to something like that.
I remember it was a Chiefs playoffs game that was like super cold, and like fans,
Chiefs and Dolphins, I think.
Fans are getting their toes amputated. Yeah. It's like, was it worth this?
No. And it's also, the contrast is like, if we lived in a world where the only way to see the game was at the game, maybe that's the conversation. But it's not, and it's like the option of that is your home or somebody's home or a hotel or bar or somewhere that's probably 70 degrees, and it's like, man, it's just such a stark contrast. It's like, well, do I want to maybe get my toes amputated or sit on my own couch? Like, man.
My cousin was telling me this. They used to live in El Paso, and I guess it snows there like once a year in El Paso, and he would always go to the bowl game there. They would get like free tickets, and so he'd go and with that. So he's over there at the tailgate, and I guess it started like a couple of flurries are coming down. He's like, well, I'm going home. See you guys later.
I'm out. I've seen enough.
I guess it snowed during the game. He's just like, there's no way I was going there.
Yeah. I know. I mentioned before, I've gone to a rain game. That sucked because it just rained the whole time.
The Demons?
But I was broadcasting, so I was covered. But
that was the game that I was at.
Yeah. I went to the Freedom Bowl in Anaheim that's no longer exists, but I think it was USC versus Fresno State. And they had, at Angel Stadium at the time, they had overhangs, but we were like we were on the sideline, kind of in a frontish type row, and just getting pelted. And it's like, yeah, it wasn't cold, but you're just wet all game, which was not fun at all. Let's see, some text here. Seems to me like Levine is the player right now that is going through the motions and not giving a great effort. DeRozan and Westbrook are playing hard regardless of the situation. Please trade Levine for sanity of the locker room. Yeah, I mean, that's the part I wonder about. Like, look, the losing's not fun. Nobody's enjoying this, and I gotta believe. And I think we played that out. Yeah, we did yesterday. Of Dylan Cardwell said some amazing things about how great the locker room is, how much he loves the guys, how everybody's staying upbeat and battling. And I'm sure there's some of that. I'm sure there's some bickering at times too. Look, nobody's enjoying this season. But I got to believe someone like DeMar DeRozan, who doesn't have a ton of time left, but still playing it. I think he's been the best player on this team for the last couple of years, to be honest with you. Certainly after the Fox trade. But he would probably like to end his career with a better chance, or at least get into the postseason. Better chance of winning a championship. Zach LaVine hasn't been in a ton of playoff sequences or series, so I'm sure he would love to see that. Sabonis would probably like more. So I know there's probably a desire, and you just got to be able to make it happen. Again, back to easier said than done. But I think just the spot they're currently in, where their record is, the roster they currently have, the fact that they know that they would like to move players, but they may not be able to, is just it's been the most up and down, bizarre, confusing-filled year. And it's really less about the record, too. The record's not been good. This could be one of the worst Kings teams we've ever seen. I think they will pass that, which the low is 17. And they may be in that, mid-20 range. If we're pacing it out, that's about where they're supposed to be, around 22 to 23, which isn't great, which will still be one of the bottom teams in the NBA. And
I still have PTSD from that season.
The 17-win season?
Yeah, because it's like, okay, well, they're going to get a good draft pick, and the lottery, they dropped as far as they
got
go.
the worst one they could, which, yeah, was not fun to see. Not fun to see at all. All right, break time for us. Still much more show to get to, including what's hot, what's not, 3 in the key prediction for tonight. We'll have our Celebrity Pick 6 Survivor edition of Roosters on the River. That's coming up in a few minutes.